is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning. 64 degrees at 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday, September 11th. I'm Lee Harris. Here's what's happening. It's primary day, and the polls are open in New York City. Voters are deciding among about 250 candidates for mayor, city council, and assorted other positions.
We were chit-chatting. I forgot what we were talking about. I must be reading the little thing on a T, as usual. Then all of a sudden he said, "Oh my God, the plane just went into the building." And I said, "Oh," I'll turn around and looked at it. All we saw was things flying all over. You could hear it. You can actually hear the glass cracking, like the tingling crack in the glass. And we see papers all over the place, glass all over the place, and we actually felt the heat coming towards the window where we are.
We're having a meeting in the office, and someone got a page over their pager saying the the tower's been hit. So we just went upstairs to like the 30th floor. We were on like the 15th floor at the time. You could look out the window. Sure enough, we seen the north face of the North Tower. Big flames coming out of it, black smoke.
It was already like a war zone. There was stuff crashing to the street. There were bodies crashing in the street. Parts of the building were falling off.
This just into our newsroom. A plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
I called my mom at work. Ma, plane crashed into the World Trade Center. I called Sergio's mom. I think I called the firehouse.
I remember shaking, just my legs really shaking. It was tough for me because it was a relatively new job for my mom. And I knew she worked in the World Trade Center, but I didn't know which building, I didn't know what floor.
The New York City Fire Department is issuing a call for a total recall of all officers and firefighters.
I knew my brother was working. He worked at Squad 41. He was a rescue unit in South Bronx. So I knew he was working that day because I talked to him earlier in the day.
I ran to my car, which was parked on a little bit east on Vesey Street, and opened the trunk and took off the shirt and tie and put on a helmet and a mayor's office jacket and my boots.
Shall we leave now or stay here on the 78th floor? I think that's what if I remember correctly, that's how we were deciding what to do. But before we even think about what to do, the plane hit. At that time, I didn't know it was a plane. It was an explosion. It was a loud explosion. Next thing you know, I went from one end to another. And I don't know how long. Was I lost consciousness or not? I have no clue. I don't remember. All I remember is getting up. And I think I have some debris on me, but it wasn't so heavy to a point I couldn't get up. I got up. I couldn't see. Okay, I took off my glasses. My glasses was all with blood, completely filled with blood. So I did remember that my glasses tend to come off, and if it comes off, I can't see, so I took it out very carefully. I happened to have an undershirt on. I wiped it. I cleaned it very carefully, and I put it back on, and I looked around. I see nothing but people laying down.
It is horrific. A second plane the size of a passenger jet flying into the second tower of the World Trade Center.
Oh, my God.
Terry was 6'4", and when he put on his helmet and his boots, he was 6'7" or 6'8". And so he kind of towered over everybody, and I saw him, and he saw me, and he just gave me a nod of the head, like, come over here. So I went over to see him, and he was in his gear and awaiting orders from the chief on what to do. And he had his Halligan in his hand, and he gave me a hug. He wrapped his big arms around me and kissed me on the cheek and said, "Might be the last time I see you, brother. I love you, man."
So we walked down this long corridor. I mean, long, very, very long. Got into the elevator, and they were waiting for people. They wasn't going down. He says, "Oh, we're waiting for more." I said, "Wait." I said, "There's nobody coming down."
Just as we started rounding the corner to run toward the lobby of 2 World Trade Center, we heard it.
And I watched it as it came down. And again, that primal scream.
Oh, my God, the building fell. Oh, my God, the building just fell. The entire World Trade Center on the South Building just fell.
I found a column and wrapped my arms around it. And I had my helmet on, and I had my radio in my hand. There wasn't really time to do anything. There wasn't time to scream for help on the radio. There wasn't time for, anything really, other than just to hold on and hope.
And I felt like for a split second, Sergio's in there. No, he's not in there. It was just that quick. It was, Sergio said, no, he's not. And I couldn't believe that, And then I said, no, he's supposed to be coming home. He's on his way home. And then I called the cell, but his machine kept on picking up right away. So I said, shit, he didn't leave yet.
And we saw the tail end of it. That's what we did. Because he opens the back door. And Mary and I looked at each other. We were like stunned. We didn't know what to say to each other. I think the only thing we said to each other, oh my God, we were lucky.
A situation that started bad just gets worse and worse and worse.
My dad got home finally, and he said that she worked in the first building on the 104th floor. And so that was just, a blow.
I heard people behind me start screaming, and I just looked over my shoulder and saw the top of number 1 lean over and then disappear with the antenna and everything. And I knew Terry was in there.
Is that the second building of the World Trade Center going down?
Yes, that is the second. That is the second tower. That is the second tower.
Down. It's a huge plume of smoke that came out of the middle of the building, and then the building just disappeared in the smoke.
We call some emergency rooms, try to call the firehouse. We can't get nobody. I'm like, you know what? Let me go get some of Michael's gear, and I'll go down.
I didn't hear from him. But I'm saying, well, he's working. He's just working, And then people are calling, have you heard from Sergio? Have you heard from Sergio? And then my house just started filling up.
If there was a chief or something, I would just ask him, what do you need? Do you need a machine? I'll get it for you. I just kind of jumped right in. Used some of my, construction experience or, because it was chaos.
We all went swimming just to kind of do something. And I remember just talking to my dad and just, him just saying, I don't think she made it.
I walked in the door, and the first face I saw was Beth. And she was crying. And she looked at me through her tears and said to me, tell me he's alive. And I couldn't because I knew. And I hugged her and held her, and that was all I could do.
All of us went to sleep in my dad's bed that night. Just cried. My brother cried that he wanted mommy. My sister cried that she wanted her mom. Just sucked. I mean, the whole thing was, worst day of my life.
We just want to come over and bring you some food. Okay. What do you mean we just want to come over and bring me some food? Yeah, no, you just want to come over, bring you some food, and sit down with you for a while. Are you coming over to tell me that Sergio's not coming home? No. We just want to come over and bring you some food. Okay. Hang up the phone. Marisol, I don't know. The firefighters said that they just want to come over and bring us some food. Why do they want to come over and bring you some food? I said, I don't know. It doesn't sound right? You think that they're going to come and tell... I'm going to call back. Are you sure you're just coming over to bring over some food? Yeah, we just wanted to bring you some food. You mean to tell me you're not coming over to tell me that Sergio's dead? Because from what I understand, the only reason why a firefighter is going to come to my house now is to tell me that Sergio's dead. They said, no, we just want to bring you some food. Are you sure? They said, yeah, we just want to sit with you and talk and bring you some food. And then they came with trays of food. And I felt so bad.
I did not know I was hurt at all. I did not know I was bleeding from my head. I did not know I was burned. I didn't feel it. I said, oh, no big deal, you know. I even lay in the hospital bed. I said, okay, I'm still planning my vacation. It's a great trip. I was going to take my kid back to where I came from, China. You know, you get burned, how you cook, you get burned, you get out. Not knowing like a second, third degree burn all over the place.
Weeks go by. And I didn't want to give in because somebody said that it's been documented that a person trapped, you know, from an earthquake lived up to 28 days without food and water, you know? So I said, well, I can't give in until at least that point.
The first 2 weeks, we believed in life to be still sustained down there, somewhere in a void or something. You know, because it was still search and rescue.
So this was the point where I'm at my wit's end, right? And I'm talking to Glenn, and he says, oh, Elaine, his tarot card reader, you know, she's pretty accurate, you know? Give me her number.
We all were at a very good pace. Everyone was at that same pace, search and rescue. We were at that pace. And then whatever night I went to sleep at 3 a.m., I woke up, took a shower, and when I went back out to the site...
She starts to lay out her cards, and she just says, oh, dear, you just lost someone. And that's it. That was my defining moment. The tarot cards. You just lost someone.
I just remember it was 8 o'clock and the sun was out. It was a nice sunny day. And you could just tell the whole site was at a different pace. It was at one notch down, much slower. Like everyone just knew there really isn't no one alive now.
The memorial, I went up and I started my speech. My mom was remarkable. About, I don't know, maybe about like a couple seconds into it, the first time I said mother in the speech, at that exact instant, the bird landed on my head. She was a great daughter, a fantastic sister, a wonderful wife, and most importantly, she was an amazing mother. I reach up to figure out what, what's on my head, and it lets me pick it up. I could swear to God there was some sort of recognition, I was just holding this baby sparrow in my hand, and it looked at me, and it flew away. I'm not a religious person at all, and, it was incredible. I mean, it's something that cannot be explained. I mean, there's nothing that can explain that moment. There's no doubt in my mind that my mom was there.
mid-March. I was staying down there pretty much every day. I would call my wife, listen, it looks like we're finding a lot of people today. I think I'm going to stay. You know, and sure enough, I'm out there with them, and the machine digs up, and here comes this Halligan out. That's a crowbar that the firemen use. It has Squad 41 written on it. And I knew my brother was carrying Halligan that day. So that was the one he was carrying. And that was huge closure. That was like, you know, I went down there the first day and on St. Patrick's Day. And right after we found the Halligan and Michael's stuff, it started snowing and stuff. It was a very, you know, very intense moment, you know. It was just like unbelievable. It was freezing cold that day. It was raining. Then right when we found this stuff, the rain turned to snow. It's snowing. There's a couple of us from Squad 41. We're sitting there on top of this pile. And it was snowing. We're like, yeah, you know, this is the moment right here, man. Unbelievable.
Beth found out that she was pregnant on September 13th, 2 days after my best friend Terry died, which was certainly a happy miracle. We started talking, and I realized that no one had cleaned or painted or fixed up the bedroom for the baby, for little Terry. And she told me that, you know, she had been waiting for someone to paint it, and it just hadn't gotten done yet. And so I told her to give me the keys, and last week I was honored to paint Terry's room pink pansy and super white on the ceiling and clean the floor. And
I used to plan like a year and a half, half a year and a half. You're never gonna see me do that again. Every time I thought something's doing okay and something else happened. It never fails on me. Even though this hand was doing okay, I went for a clinic appointment. Next thing you know, I'm up in the hospital for like a week because they don't know what the hell's wrong. They don't know what's wrong with me. I had like a blotch all over the place. So he thought it was infection, it might be fungus, so they had me on antibiotic for almost a week. I'm still having surgery done. I'm still probably have reconstruction done. I probably have another skin graft here to reduce all this. I don't know what's going on yet. It's like a unknown to me now. I know I will have something done, but I don't know what yet. I used to do everything myself. But now all I really could do is eat, sleep, and sit and watch TV. Until I get my function back, there's not much I can do. And I'm hoping this surgery will do the trick, but who knows? So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that is. That no other complication will come up to make it worse. So, I don't know. I don't know what my future will be.
First, I wanted to punch the kid in the face, you know? And then I wanted to just go and cry. Because I felt, you know, like, who is with me? You know, I go into school and I have to see a flyer from some kid, you know, who's fighting for the rights of the people that killed my mom. You know. You know, I'm just angry at a lot of people.
I can never question the fact that I love this man, you know, and that he loved me. But as time goes by and all this stuff, I mean, I don't want to have to keep going into this to remind myself. You know, like the person that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. I don't want to feel like he's that distant from me that I have to go and remind myself about where we were with each other. And then I'm caught between having to move on because I'm still only 34. But I don't want to.
Jr. Edelmiro Abad.
Benjamin Keith Clark. Eugene Clark. Gregory Allen Clark. Kevin Francis Cleary. James D. Clear.
Edward Thomas Fergus Jr.
George Ferguson.
Henry Fernandez.
Judy Hazel Fernandez.
Julio Fernandez.
Leonard W. Patton. Terrence S. Patton. Joseph John Cumberland Jr.
Robert Henry Lynch Jr.
Michael J. Lyons.
I watch a lot of home videos lately, and you know, there's this one video of my mom on her birthday.
Making a wish?
Go ahead. No, Sydney.
No, Sydney, it's Mommy's.
It almost like wasn't even a birthday for her. She got these special candles, you know, the ones that keep lighting. My sister and I just thought it was like, we thought it was like the funniest thing in the world.
I didn't even know that.
You know, she says, oh, it's better this way because now you get to make more wishes.
You know, that way you get a lot of wishes. Right? Let's make another wish.
So she turns to me and she goes, make a wish. And so I made some wish, and she goes, you know, what is it?
What would you wish? Tell me. Quick, tell the camera, quick.
And I was like, no, I can't tell you, like, you know, it's gonna ruin it. She goes, no, just like, don't worry, just whisper it to me.
I have a great time at camp. My wish. That's your wish?
Okay.
You know what my wish is? That Nicholas has a great time at camp.
I wish that I hope you had a good time at camp. That's all she wanted. And now it's very different. It's nothing now. You know, it's a lonely house. It's a cold house. My dad started dating someone. They got married in, I think it was April. And now my mom is rarely brought up, especially in front of, you know, my dad's wife, Bobby, who was one of my mom's good friends. So, yeah, it was just lonely. It was just very lonely. My most vivid dream, the first dream, was, went to like a dinner, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it was some sort of like kind of memorial dinner for my mom. And all of a sudden she just shows up. And she doesn't say anything. And all that happens is I just go up to her and I just hug her. Like really, really, really tight for a long time. Just hug her. It was just so nice. You know, just to hug her, just to grab her. You know? You know, just like put my face in her hair, just like smell her. You know?
I still haven't cleaned out The closets, Sergio's side, his drawers. Like, I can't do it, you know? Of course, the pictures are still up. His shoes are there. His shoes are under the bed, you know? Every once in a while, I'll get that moment where I just kind of look and I say, oh, I remember that shirt. You know, I expected that at 33 years old, and I'm engaged to be married to the absolute love of my life, and we've created, up until that point, such a beautiful life together.
I've got the one person that I wanted to spend Christmas with my whole life, my soulmate. And in the other room. I wonder who it is. Here he is. Big Daddy with a hat.
And a cigarette.
Hey! Bad head day. You need a hat.
Yeah, baby. Hook this up.
I expected that I was going to be under the skylight of the little chapel in the Fountainhead, saying my vows to Sergio, you know? I expected that. Sometimes I imagine myself having children, which I can easily shoot those imaginings down, you know? Just because I'm like, who are you kidding? I just do that. I kind of... I think I'd wanted baby so much with Sergio, you know? And now that he can't be here to be the father to them, it's like, no babies. You know what I mean?
I had my life planned so well. Before this happened, I was traveling all over the place. And I said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to travel to this place. We're going to travel to that place. I'm just planning vacation. That's my free time when I'm home. Planning vacation after vacation. On the last surgery, I had a blood clot. And that means my index and my thumb is not moving. So that's the only thing I had before I went to the surgery. And I lost that. So normally burns like this, it takes a year to 2 years max to mature. Now I'm going into 2 years very soon. And mine is just still very active because it's bright red. It has not changed color. And the more scarring I have, the more tightening I will get it. And that will limit my mobility. So it's like here, you see how big this is? This is actually pulling my hand backward. And that's why I'm not straight, okay? Because the scar is so tight. And this hand, of course, this thing was never near that big. This got 4 times bigger than what it used to be. Except that graft doesn't work on me. But why? They can't answer that. None of the doctor could answer that. And that's the scary part. They cannot tell me why this is happening to me. It's just like more and more therapy every day. I used to only like a couple of days, now I'm 6 days. And my whole life is like going to appointments, coming back to appointment, coming home, sit down for a while, and then you're so tired you don't want to do anything. And I know I cannot travel, okay? I can't cook. I can't do anything that I used to do. I feel useless sometimes. Like, what the hell am I doing? I'm sitting here doing nothing. So what do? You watch TV. How much can you watch? Well, as much as you can. And it's funny, I tape Murder, She Wrote. She actually somehow calmed me down. It was like a little old lady solving crimes. Next thing you know, she knows everything. So I kind of taped the whole thing. And when I get to be really edgy, I just turn the TV on and just sit there and watch her.
And I know they don't mean to do it. And they're happy, and they should be, you know, but to hear them say, can you believe I have my 2 kids now? I have a family. Wow, great. It's wonderful. It's so yucky, the feelings of envy It's so like yucky and just self-pity. You know, whenever I get an invitation or an announcement or anything like that, it's just, you know, so then I can go to Miami and get on my motorcycle and forget about the shit. Or try to. But it helps. The motorcycle helps. It's free. I get on my bike. Big Daddy, I'm gonna paint the tank soon. I get on it. I turn it on, and once I start going, and it's just that wind in my hair, you know, or through my bandana, whizzing past my ears. It's just, I feel like there, it's just open. It's just open and like free. Pretty much November, I closed on the apartment in Miami, and then I just started going every month. The apartment has become affectionately known as the Sanctuary. In my cell phone, it's listed under Sanctuary, and on my keychains, it's Sanctuary.
When I moved to Washington, I dove into work. I really was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to get this command stuff up and running for the secretary.
Between local emergency managers, police, fire.
Someone asked me, just innocently said to me, well, don't you miss your friends in New York? And it put me on my heels because, you know, the mind works pretty quick sometimes. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be missing my friends in New York. That was my first thought. My second thought was, I got scared. And I said, why don't I miss them? Is there something wrong with me? That kind of a thought. And then I said, no, there's nothing wrong with me, but they're all dead.
During the recovery, we spent a good year, like, removing debris. You were tearing things down all the time. Tearing pieces down, putting me on trucks and getting them out of here. Finally, we came to the phase where now we're going to be building things. What they needed for me to do down there as project manager for the Path Restoration Project, I fitted into that. We actually were taking stuff and pouring concrete and putting metal onto it and erecting something out of the ground. Like we would say, out of the ground she comes. Every morning when I leave the house and I go in to tuck the girls in, I would imagine Michael, like every day I do it, tucking his two girls in. It's just like a funny feeling, like I'm tucking them in, but it's something like he's actually tucking his girls in at the same time I'm doing mine. I always think of that, because he missed out on that now. And then the World Trade Center itself, working in the bathtub, reminding the workers where they are every week, week after week, you know, bringing the temporary station out of the ground. You know, the
day that train opened, it was like the greatest accomplishment of my work in history, you know.
Today is it's a good day that, you know, this is phase one, or, you know, I keep saying it's phase one, but it's an accomplishment. It's finally working. You know, this project is done. So I feel really good. I know Mike's looking down real proud about that.
If you had told me 3 years ago that my mother would be dead and that I would have almost no contact with my father, that I'd be living on my own, I would have told you were fucking crazy. He has neglected his duty as a father to allow his children to heal the way they need to, over the way he needs to heal. And it's sad that I'm not allowed there anymore, but at the same time, it's, you know, I can't live there anymore. Can't be there anymore. I was thrown out of the house, and so I did what is necessary for me to live. But in general, I don't want to ever touch that money. That money exists because my mom was, you know, murdered in a terrorist attack, you know? So every time I use that money, it's kind of like, shit, like, you know what I mean? It feels like dirty money to me. Bloody money. It's bloody money.
In Florida, I feel like I can kind of like take off my widow coat, so to speak. I even have to say that my truth, I wasn't ready to tell my truth fully. My truth is dating. It was a very, very painful decision to start dating again. You know, it's such a betrayal. It's a betrayal. How could I have feelings for wanting to just be intimate? Just to have intimacy again. When, you know, it was like, how could you, but your body, and especially after that, it was just, I ached to be held, you know, to be touched. I ached for that. I had the fantasy, the ghost fantasy, where Patrick Swayze jumps into Whoopi Goldberg's body so he could reach out and be with Demi Moore again. So that's what I felt like the first few times that I was actually with Sergio, you know.
So far, my surgery has not been successful. So there's no answer to my problem. If there's any answer to my problem, then I would say, gee, you know what? There's some hope. And like over here, you see this part right here? Mm-hmm. Once you scar like that, it's almost hopeless. Almost like a callus. But you know I'm hopeless. Not you, but I'm hopeless. I try to be as happy as possible. So special. Got to be hopeful. Well, I guess I try to cope with whatever I got. I know I can't change it. I think our biggest part with all of us who got hurt in 9/11, they do get the family support, but it's just very difficult for them to understand. I mean, my husband, he thinks I'm still the same person, but I'm not the same. Even though you say, I know how you feel, blah, 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 all these other things, but Not really. Because you're not there.
Terry was always a guy that was hard to keep up with because he was that good, but he was also very smart.
Take up, take up, take up, take up. Take up. Take
Very rare to find all of that in one person.
Sleep. I never sleep. Let's go.
And, you know, we went to this fire and it wound up being me and Terry alone on the line together. And we made the turn. I had the nozzle, he was backing me up, and he's just screaming encouragement. I mean, we were in hell. And he's screaming in my ear through his mask, you know, let's go, brother, you got it, move in, you got it, let's go. And that right there describes our relationship. That we could do that together, and that I knew he was there for me, and he knew I was there for him. I guess that moment right there describes it, you know. And you know, and I lost that. When I saw Beth up at the firehouse where the mayor was after the 2 collapses, she said to me, "Where is Terry? Go get him. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Go get Terry and bring him to me." I felt horribly guilty. And I feel like, you know, I should have been there with him. Whether it was life or death, I should have been there with him in death.
Things starting to affect me now. You know, you're out of the mainstream at ground zero and starting a new job. Then all of a sudden, things just started happening. Started, you know, dreaming about different items and different events that happened. You get flashes of, like, little certain items, like climbing a staircase, seeing what you've seen on a rooftop, a piece of an airplane wing, body parts, that type of thing, you know. You know, the digging up of bodies and human remains, you know. If I see an old shoe or something that's ripped up, like on the side of the road, that's like, whoa, I get like, just a reminder of we would see a lot of that down there when you were excavating. You know, now probably some of this emotion, you know, is coming out, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there ain't days will go by, I don't miss my brother. This morning I had to go to Home Depot. 2 brothers pulled up right next to me, got out of the car, going in to get plywood or something. Right away, I missed my brother. You know, I would enjoy that. Sometimes we would go to Home Depot, we get out, I would help them with something, you'd talk about things. You know, it was just this morning, right away, felt that emptiness this morning. I don't think I even started to heal yet. I think I just started to open the envelope saying, yeah, I think there's some problems here. Got to start to try to heal a little bit. Start to look inward, see what's going on. I think I got a ways to go.
washes this way.
Oh, that's so nice.
Beautiful, right? The hard work is done then.
Yeah.
Right?
Beautiful. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I worked for Lehman Brothers this summer. I don't know if that's what my mother would have wanted, me working on Wall Street. But for whatever reason, I feel like I need to do that to pick up where she left off. My mother started at Lehman after college. It was her first job out of college. And about, probably 20 some odd people came up to me and said, are you Nick Charles? Yeah. Was your mother Catherine? And I said, yeah. They said, she was, and then every single person basically had a different story. Every single person had their own story, how they knew her, and wonderful to hear, like priceless. Every single day I went to work, I felt close to her. Being at work, I felt close to her. Just like being in her shoes almost, especially going to and from work, like on the subway. I don't know why, because I felt like I was just like, I could be like sitting next to her on the train. Like she could walk into like the subway at any point in time. Yeah, I really, really miss her. I really do.
It was a couple of days before what would have been mine and Sergio's anniversary when we got engaged. It was June 30th. And, I kind of woke up the next morning and was still kind of, laying in bed, and Ray put a ring on my finger. And I didn't have this ring on, which I've continued to wear, but I left it at home because of the trip to Peru. I didn't want to lose it. And Ray put a ring on my finger. And I was just kind of like... And what came out of my mouth was, I miss my other ring. I just was freaked out. I was so freaked out. I was like, I miss my other ring. And he said, well, go, put it on. He said, I would never take that away from you. And one of the reasons why I love you so much is how devoted you've been to Sergio. And I feel like Sergio gave me a gift with you. And I was like, well, this is happening so fast. This is just happening really fast, and I just don't know, and I'm freaking out. I was telling him I'm freaking out. I just don't know. I mean, and, I have this whole other life, and he's never been to New York with me. Like all of these things, you'd have to meet Delia, and it's just I just don't know. I just don't know. And he's like, listen, take your time. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. The pain, my imagining the pain of what it was going to cause everybody, I guess it was because it was causing myself pain, like to say, it's time now. It's time to let that part go. It's not, there's so much pain in those words, to let go. and it's been trying. It's just trying to let go without letting go.
Since the last year or so, I have so many surgery, which did a lot of good. Still not perfect, but still I can move it. Before this surgery, my hand was like this. Okay, I cannot move, I cannot stretch this out, and I cannot bend my wrist. The last time he did it was he opened this up. I was getting a grip. I was very happy about it. About a couple months ago, I was holding a bottle, it slipped out of me. And I said, that sounds weird. Then I realized I lost some of my function again. Dr. Chu, long time no see.
Yes. How you doing?
Actually, not too bad. And the pain is constant, but it's very mild. Only once in a while I get this heavy pain.
Can you try to move that joint for me? See, even with that. So
I just want to hear good things.
We still have a good chance in that.
I get very frustrated if I drop something I can't pick it up. I get frustrated, but I think, you know what? Then use the other hand. So I'm learning to cope with everything I have. The
If we do the release again, the chance for you to be able to move is much better now. See?
Okay.
So
Now,
maybe we should give it a try.
also at the same time.
I kind of feel like I'm coming back to New York where I left off 3 years ago, but it's not the same, you know? I don't know what fate has in store for me. And I don't know what my career is going to be. I don't know where my money's going to come from. The pension is nice, but it's not, you know, it's not enough for me to have a one-bedroom here, you know?
No, I'm not really not doing anything right now. Just kind of in a holding pattern.
They just released some more tapes of the firemen calling the fire department dispatcher. Patty Brown was one of them.
Dispatch, Camp Brown, ladder 3. I'm at the World Trade Center. Yeah. I'm on the 35th floor, okay? Okay. Just relayed to the command post. We're trying to get up. You know, there's numerous civilians in all stairwells. Numerous burn injuries are coming down. I'm trying to send them down first. Apparently, it's above the 75th floor. I don't know if they got that yet, okay? Okay. This is free truck, and we're still heading up, all right? Okay. Thank you. Okay.
You know, his last recorded words were, I'm going up. Simple, powerful, brave words. He wasn't going to let Terry die up there alone. I wish I could have done more to help Terry and Patrick and all the other guys. I wish I could have. Maybe that day when I ran out of the hotel, maybe I never stopped running, really, you know. Maybe I'm running away from the hurt.
Good morning, and I want to welcome everybody to Rescue 1. We are here to rename part of 43rd Street after one of our city's most decorated firefighters, Captain Terry Hatton. And I'm honored.
His wife and family will continue to honor him every day by speaking his name and preserving his memory. By renaming 43rd Street, every future generation will know that there was once a great husband, father, son, brother, uncle, friend.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do you?
Terry really was a remarkable guy. I try not to romanticize him too much with Terry because I try to make him a real person. But she's gonna look at that sign and think, gee, my dad really was what my mom said. just thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it so much.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I was diagnosed this year with PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. My eyes are very, very weird looking sometimes. I'm on some medication. I take clozapam and some Risperdal, you know what I mean? I go for therapy once a week. Some of the symptoms are like anger and screaming out and like, so like at work, you'd be yelling at the workers more. I was sleeping in my car because I was having arguments with my wife. So I'd sleep out in the driveway some nights. And then I had a new job and, you know, you go in, you don't know anybody. Your feelings are all over the place. You know, you're trying to get involved with new people and see how they react to you and, you know, that whole type of thing. I think it's fate that I'm there at Ground Zero. The things that happened at my last job while I left was all fate for me to get down to Ground Zero again. We're up on 60th floor of a building every day. I can look right down into the pit. I always look over to where I found his remains. So it's like every day, it's like I think of him. The bottom of the pit is a spiritual place. It's like really weird. So when we start building the Freedom Tower, you know, I'll be at the bottom. And it'll give me strength or energy, or, you know, that's the way I look at it.
Edward Raymond Vanacore. Name. Frederick Thomas Baracci. Name. David Vargas. Name. Azael Ishmael Vasquez. Name. John T. Vigiano II. Name. Santos Vasquez. Name. Sankara Velaburi.
Martin.
Gavin Cushney.
Manuel Joan Demoto.
Caleb Aaron Dack.
Carlos S. DaCosta.
And my incredible wife, Catherine Charles, our children, Nicholas, Sydney, and Dylan, and I miss and love you very much.
Robert Anthony Vicario.
Celeste Torres Victoria.
Joanna Vidal.
Joseph Vincent Vigiano.
And my fiancé, firefighter and former detective, Sergio Big Daddy Villanueva. You were so much to so many people, and our families and friends love and miss you every day. I carry your heart in my heart, and I laugh, love, and celebrate life for you.
Yeah, welcome back. But you're in such good hands. That's right. This is true. I'm sorry. Come hither.
The reason I agreed to do the surgery with the plastic joint, because I understand a lot of people had plastic joint worked out perfectly. In my mind, I said to myself, I give myself a last chance. He didn't do a damn thing. But I expected it. He said he wanted to try it. It is a little bit better. At least now I'm like straight. Before it's like crooked to a point, I can't do too much. And if you really don't know that my hand's not moving, you really don't know about it. Okay, so I accepted the fact. I told him I'm accepting the way as is. It will get worse, but you know what? I'll worry when time comes. I'm not having any more surgery in this hand. Because arthritis is going to kill these hands soon. But you know what? People have worse condition than I am. And the thing that really made me turn around is the burn conference. That turned my attitude completely different. You see some of the patient has been burned, and you have to say to yourself, I'm very, very lucky. So since then, I look at myself at a very different attitude.
Cool.
I'm having another surgery in the beginning of December because my eyes is pulling. This part right here. Because when I look this way, it's pulling my eyes. And it's gonna get worse. I don't want to get to a point that I cannot move it anymore. Affects my vision. Otherwise, I would not have it done.
Please, Tanya, come just to the other side of Ray. The Uli Aloha offers a word of greetings, for it says in part that this is the sight for which you have longed. Now that you have come, love has come with you. Aloha and welcome.
I promise to love you, to honor you, and to cherish you always, from this day forward.
I love you so much. You came to me at a time when I didn't think it was possible either to be able to fall in love again. And you love me with all of me, and I love that. And I love you, and you make me so happy.
And I'm really looking forward to spending a great life with you, honey. I just love you.
Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly.
That terrible day. And now we honor them by beginning to raise the Freedom Tower into New York skies. It will be an emblem of our city in concrete and steel. It will show New York City's determination to remember, renew, and rebuild. Inspiring, soaring, and undefeated.
Nicholas Charles, BA in Economics.
It's just really odd. My whole life I've thought of, I'm gonna work on Wall Street, like my mother did it, and she loved it, and then kind of realizing maybe I'm not my mother. Just like admitting that to yourself. It's odd, and it's also just like upsetting. 6 years has gone by, and fact of the matter is that I do remember less of my mother.
Can you kiss mommy's ear while I'm taking off?
Most of the time I think about it and like I'm happy that I'm thinking about it because I just like loved her. You know, I just loved her. So when I think about her, it's just comforting at this point. I was really angry at Osama bin Laden. But now that just seems so absurd to me. Like, I don't know him. Like, he was responsible for the what's terrible thing that, like, completely changed my life. But, like, I don't really know him. I guess I don't really hate him. I did. But that just seems absurd. He's living in some cave in Afghanistan. Like, I don't really hate the guy, you know? I guess that's really when I guess you can start coming to terms with something like that. You know, when you start like letting go of the anger and the, you know, terror kind of, I guess, of that day.
I'll give you guys this if you want it. I put it all together on a sheet. I'll talk to you about the radios. I'll talk to you, and I'll tell you the truth. I'm running a program of first responders for Rudy. My boss was a guy named Terry Hatton. He was a lieutenant there at the time. I'm defending the mayor on 9/11, so I've done a tremendous amount of research on and around 9/11. So I'm learning a lot of things that I didn't know. I'm reliving it. I now know from eyewitnesses and ear witnesses. I know how they died. I know where they were. You know? I know Terry was trapped up on 83 with his guys. You know, they had an interior collapse, and they were trapped in the tower before the big collapse. And they were screaming for help on the radio. And Patty Brown heard it and was going up the stairs. The bravery that they demonstrated by being up that high, by getting there, by being right at the heart of the carnage. I'm extremely proud of them.
I'm out of therapy now. I don't take medication no more. It's a curable thing, which is a good thing. You know, lasted a couple of years, so, you know, I got over that now. This is my brother's fireman coat that I wore down to the site on 9/11.
A little big.
Yeah. Still have map of ground zero in there, find out where the buildings fell. What else I got in here? Glove. Oh, this thing.
A pen, this thing. What's this thing?
The light I use to get around during the night and everything.
What about this thing?
Yeah, we use that. Put this on us in case we got trapped.
And this?
It's a pen. See, look. 9/12/01. We issued the drawing to go searching for different things. The healing is, you know, I guess it's there somewhere or another. You know, you're over your, you know, brother's death, sibling's death, or whatever. But, you know, you remember it.
How come it's 9/12/01?
Because it was the morning after. We all got together, had a big meeting, 9 o'clock meeting. There's guys I worked with for a whole year. They didn't even know till today that I lost my brother. Because when some of them were complaining about cleaning up. And I said, listen, do you know where you're working? Like 2,800 people died here, okay? And on Tuesday, all their family members are gonna come here. This is the only place that they have to go because they didn't find them. So you got your crap laying all over the place, so you might as well clean it up for them, all right? You know, you're not just here because, you know, you're beating your chest last week, you're building like the Freedom Tower. So do you know why you're doing that? Because like the other ones fell down. So, you know, remember where you are once in a while.
I'm involved because I believe in him, and I believe that he will fix the things that killed my friends. And that Terry and Patrick would be proud of me. You know, in the end, I would hope. this tie with the mayor and 9/11 and White House and all that. Yeah, if it doesn't happen, then I've done my best to try and make it happen, and then it's done. So maybe in a way, I kind of hope for that.
God bless my wife. She's been through a lot of stuff. She has been an angel for all the things that I've been putting her through. And we do stay together when we can and stay with our children. But, you know, she has sacrificed a lot of stuff. You know, early on, we were trying to have another child, and then 9/11 came, and that kind of blew all that out of the water type of thing. Because I wasn't home, and stress, and then you get older, and then, you know, you get too old, and then you miss that opportunity. And I think that had happened with us.
She has a lot of hair. Yeah, are you okay?
They gave me a facelift for free. That's one thing I could laugh about, you know what I mean? What else can you do? But, you know, a little bit at a time. I hope anytime soon, though. Somehow I can't take the surgery anymore. Even though I do it now, it doesn't mean it's going to work later. But at least maybe I have a couple years of freedom. If it goes back, I say, oh, well, I'll be 60. I said, I'll be okay. If I can't turn, it's all right. 60? Listen, I'm old enough. You turn around and come over here. Hi, she's all mine. You gotta go show off. Like, here she is.
You know, as life has obviously moved forward, right? And I along with it. I have a family now that I have to bring them in.
She is. Who's our squeaky girl in the mirror? Squeaky Von Flower.
It has to be their space too.
Oh, you're tired. You tired? You tired?
But I was looking at the desk in the corner in the dining room, and there's pictures of Sergio and I, you know, we're kissing. There were 2 pictures of us kissing. There's our engagement portrait. So I just said, it's time for me. I said, it's time for me. I have to take these down now. you know, and I have to let myself off the hook. It's not that I'm, you know, shutting Sergio out by doing that. But I guess there's always going to be that little part that feels like
a great deal of what my book is about the search for my mother and the search for my real mother.
And what does this one say?
I only knew my mother at home.
Nicholas!
That's how I knew my mother for the first 15 years of my life.
I love your mommy. He said no. And you know,
And at home, she was our family. You know, she was the glue in our family, and she was kind and
From you, that's quite funny.
giving and funny and, you know, everything that she was great.
Oh, you're doing to me what I do to you, Nick?
I went to work on Wall Street because, you know, I wanted to be more like my mother and follow in her footsteps. And I think that for me, recognizing that it's not what I want to do with my life was important. And I think that allowing myself to accept that my mother would have been proud of me no matter what I do is important.
Terry's always in my head. His voice is always there. If I had heard Terry and ran toward him, what was I gonna do? You know, they were on the 83rd floor. What would the point of that been? It has made me tired thinking about it. I'm just done with it. I can't live there. I can't live in that place. I want to live in this place. I guess I'm pretty happy to be alive.
it's kind of strange to bring my new family into Sergio's family.
That's heavy, right, Lee? Yes.
How are you,
Lovely.
Samantha, how you doing, my baby?
She's so big.
She kicking?
She's been busy.
Oh, Ray's there too. Okay.
She just realized that in order for her to continue to be a part of my life, you know, she wanted to welcome all of the new with it. And I know it was very hard for her, but once we did it, it was just in a kooky way normal. It kind of all just fell into place in a really smooth and kind of peaceful way.
All of these people. Are these people really your relatives?
I think there's a part of me that's afraid to show people that I'm so happy now, you know, because then it kind of negates what happened. I know a lot of people see me and they're like, you know, I'm so happy for you. You know, you deserve to be happy. It's so good to see you smiling again and all of that stuff. And so, and I have to be very protective of, you know, of Ray and of my babies too. Like, you know, I can't, if I'm having a moment, you know, which they come, but they usually come like at nighttime, you know, some triggers or whatever. And then the grief is very private now. It's not like something I can openly emote, you know?
Some years she got like the season.
Well, we got a season tickets, right?
Somehow we had dinner together. Ate dinner, one dinner, which was like a big deal. And then we decided to have another dinner, and it eventually became a weekly dinner over the past year. Now I like have a father again.
And now I haven't taken a video in so long. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to Dylan.
I said, these are the things that I think you did wrong. You didn't let your kids heal. You shouldn't have gotten married as early as you did. And I think he finally was able to let go of some of his pride and say, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. And that's all I needed, you know? I think that I held him to like this incredible, unrealistic standard as a father. And I think that creating a more realistic idea of who my mother was has allowed me to accept my father as a more realistic human being. You know, he's my father, but he's also just a human being, a guy that lost his wife and his best friend.
And so the saga continues, I guess. I think it is a lifelong thing. I think prior to living this experience, I think it would probably be easy for me to imagine that, you know, when people move on, they move on, you know, but the truth is you don't move on. I mean, it's something that's always there, you know, just kind of like, it's there.
Birthday to you. Happy Our whole family was broken. And I think that over time, we found a way to come back together and make it work without her. Without my mother.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm over that now. I don't know. I guess so. That's all healed up. I don't think about that stuff anymore. It's more about just the memory of everybody down there. You want to rebuild the thing to give everybody the dignity that they deserve, that lost their lives there. You want to get the memorial done, so there's a place for family members to go, and then rebuild the infrastructure so it's an acting city again. To be honest with you, a few months ago, you wake up one day and you realize, hey, my life's almost over, and you know, what am I doing here, and you know, where am I going with it, and you know, I've been on one thing focused so desperately. You know, what about the rest of my life or my goals that I wanted to do? I'm just lucky that I'm grateful for what I have. You know what I mean?
Eat or go down first?
Hi. I have a job that I enjoy going to work, you know. I have a beautiful wife and family I can go home to.
First of all,
There's not a lot more you can ask in life itself, you know what I mean, unless you're like the King of England. And I don't even know if he's happy guy.
Yeah. When I told him I wasn't doing any more surgery, he's kind of like, well, you're not done. I said, guess what? I'm done. it's enough. It's over 40. And I've been in the hospital, for the last almost 8 years. So when I said, oh, gee, I don't have to go through this anymore, it feels good. It just feels good. And then if you look at me this way, you don't know I got burned in that end anyway. So that is good enough. So when I take pictures, I say, okay, everybody, stand this side, because this is the way I'm going to face. I said, this is my good side, okay? That's how I do things. You gotta make the best out of it. I remember you.
You look
That's
good.
been like, yeah, I know. They did a lot on me, though. How you doing?
You look nice. I like your
Thank you,
clothes.
thank you. It happened, but I'm alive. That's the only thing I kind of tell people. How you doing?
Good.
I was like giving a second chance that I really could have died that day. Somehow, somewhere along the line, I came back. I'm glad I'm alive. I am very, very glad I'm alive. So I'm gonna go do things. One day at a time, I'm gonna do things. Okay, so we're gonna plan a party next. I can't wait to do it.
You can't push too hard in life, you know what I mean? You gotta kind of find your way, how you wanna do it.
Everyone heals in a completely different way.
The good of grief is that it meant that you loved someone so much, you know, that it was hard to let them go.
I don't think I would be where I am now without going through all of the different steps of the process. If you accept that process, I think you end up in a much better spot. Land on your feet. I think I've landed on my feet.
I have a completely new life. A new home in a new state, a new husband, new babies, and a beautiful life.
What's there to grieve about? You're here. See, my attitude is, if it doesn't get me anywhere, don't bother. You wake up, gee, I'm here. So I said, okay, what are we gonna do next?
I love waking up again. You know, it's not like, I don't love waking up after 4 hours of sleep, but I do love waking up to those faces.
I have hope. It's all gonna work. It's all gonna be good at the end of the day. We'll teach our children what had happened, the economy will get better, and hopefully the world will be a better place when we finish. That's all you can hope for. And that you'll live a nice, long, happy life.
I'll always grieve. But it doesn't stop me from still living a life of joy.